Okay, guys, so welcome back to the part two of the ABC costing. So, in the first part, we were able to use the traditional absorption method or costing method to find the cost per unit of products A, B, and C. The B part says that we should use the activity based costing to also find the cost per unit of products A, B, and C. So this is where it's going to get technical. Okay, but pay close attention and listen and you'll be fine. Okay. All right. So initially, I told you that before you'll be able to solve or before you can solve or start any ABC question to find the total cost or cost per unit. So is what? The TC of production, right? Equals DMC plus DLC plus OHC. I believe you remember this, right? Yes. So this is the format we are going to follow. But in the previous video, we were able to solve for DMC, which is direct material cost, and we're able to solve for direct labor cost. Okay. So in this video, we are not going to solve for these two again because they have already been solved in the previous part. So what we are going to look at is the overhead absorption costing part. Okay, because that is where the problem is. Okay, these ones will remain constant, but this changes because with the traditional one, we have a way to calculate this. And with the absorption, with the activity based two, we have a way to go about it. So this is what we'll be tackling in today's session. Okay. All right. So pay close attention because it's going to get technical. Okay. So already we have our overhead, which is the machine setup cost, the machine running cost, procurement cost, and delivery cost. These are cost pool, like I said earlier. And these cost pool are triggered by something called cost drivers. Okay. So if you look at the question very well, you realize that with delivery cost, we have the number of deliveries to retailers. And with procurement cost, it deals with purchases. So number of purchase orders per annum. So you see that, yes. So those are the cost drivers, the number of production runs. Okay. These are all the machine hours too could be a cost driver. Okay. So these are the cost drivers that we have. So with a um traditional absorption method or the traditional method, we had to find the overhead rate first, the overhead absorption rate first before we allocated them to we use before we use the labor hours to find our overhead cost. Then we finally use it to find the cost per unit. Okay. So we are going to do same with this, but this time it changes. So you pay close attention. So before you start, let's first match the cost pool with its cost driver. So for this, you can do it in your head. So if you know you can, if you know how to go about this, you just skip this part, okay? Because it wouldn't be relevant. But then if you don't know, then you just follow along. So with a machine setup cost, okay, so this is the pool. So we have machine set up cost. We have the machine running cost. We have procurement cost. And we have delivery cost. So in the question, what are the cost drivers? for these. Let's start with delivery cost because this is the easiest. So for delivery cost, the cost driver is what? The number of deliveries, right? So that's its cost driver. Then for procurement, in the cost drivers, you see number of purchases. So just like the way you approach overhead analysis sheet, okay, you allocate the basis of apportionment. Yeah, it's just similar to this. Okay. All right. So let's continue. So for procurement cost, we are using purchase orders. So number of purchase orders. Uh, then for machine running cost. So machine running cost, that is the how long the machine is running, right? Or the machine is working. So for that, we'll use machine hours. So we use machine hours. Then for machine setup cost, we use the number of production runs. Okay. Yes. So if you know this, you can just skip it and move straight to solving the question. But if you don't know, yes, then you just have to follow along. Okay. So these are the cost pool with its cost drivers. Do you get it? All right. So now that we've identified the cost drivers, then it becomes easier to allocate the activities. So then you move on to the next one. That is trying to find the total of the cost drivers for each product. So we have product A, product B, product C, and total. Okay, so we have cost drivers here. You don't need to do this if you already know how to go about it. But then for easy assimilation so that you can understand, you just go through this. So the cost, you start with, so these are the cost drivers, right? So let's start with machine hours per unit. So for machine hours per unit, for A, you see machine hour in the question is 0.5 for A. Now, this 0.5 can't be useful unless you multiply it by the production unit. Okay, that will give us the total machine hours. Okay, so we multiply that by 15,000. So if you multiply that, that will give us 7,500. So this is the machine hours we used, okay, in producing these 15,000 units. So basically, just like we did in the other part, that is the same thing we apply here. So with B, machine hours for B was what? 0.7. We multiply that by 8 production units, which is 12,000. And that we are going to get 8,400 hours. Then for C is 0.9. We multiply that by its corresponding production units, which is 18,000. And that we are getting 16,200 hours. So the total is going to be 32,100 hours. Okay, so that is for the machine hours. Bear with me, my handwriting. Okay, So you add this, and this, all the hours together, you're going to get 30 to 100 hours. Okay. Then the next cost driver is number of production runs. So number of production runs. Okay, so for that, A, according to the question, is 16, B is 12, C is 8. You put that together, you are getting what? 36. So 36, that is the total. Then the next one is the number of purchase orders. So we have 24, we have 28, and we have 42 according to the question. You add all of them, you get 94. Then we have number of deliveries. Okay. Deliveries to retailers, by its number of deliveries. So for that in the question, we have 48, we have 30, and we have 62. You put all together, you get 140. So these are the total cost drivers that we have here. Okay. So now the next thing that you're going to do is to find the cost rate. Okay. Cost driver rate. Okay. So it's getting technical, so kindly pay attention. So after you've gotten your totals, the next thing you're going to do is to find what the cost driver rate. We call it CDR. Okay, which equals the total is a cost pool. Cost pool over cost driver. The cost pool over total cost driver. Okay. So just like in the traditional one where we did the overhead absorption rate. Okay. So with the ABC, you're going to find the CDR, which is the cost driver rate, where it equals the cost pool over the total cost driver. Do you get it? So this is how you're going to go about it. So you pick the first overhead or first cost pool. So the first one is machine setup cost. Okay. And for machine setup cost, its CDR will be equal to, so let me put column here. CDR will be equal to the cost of machine setup cost. So it is what? 26,550 all over the total. So you see, we calculated, so for machine setup cost, we use what? Number of production runs. So remember, we come here. That's the reason why we are allocated this. Okay. So the cost driver to the cost pool. So we are saying that the machine setup cost, we are going to use number of production runs. Okay, the number of production runs. So that is what we are going to apply here. So the CDR is the total machine setup cost. That is the cost that was given to this, which is 26,550 over the total rate. So for number of production runs, its total was 36. Okay, its total was 36. So then it's over 36. Do you get it? So then we are going to get the rate. So the rate will be what? 737.50. So that is the rate. So we use this rate here. So after we've gotten the rate, then you list your product A, B, C. Do you get it? Then we open bracket. So now we are going to use this rate here to multiply each product runs, okay, that were used. So since we are using the number of production runs, for A we use 16, B we use 12, and C we used 8. So it's going to be same here. So we are going to use this rate to multiply them. So for A we used what? 16. So it's going to be 16 times 737.50. Okay, and that will give us what? 11,800. Then B is 12. So 12 times 737.50, and that's going to give us what? 8,850. Then C is what? 8 times 737.50, and that will give us what? 5,900, right? Okay, so after you've gotten this, to be sure that that is the cost pool you've allocated, add all this value to see if you get this. So if you add all this value and you're not getting this, then probably there's a mistake somewhere. Okay, so that is one thing to take away. All right, so now we use this rate to allocate this among A, B, and C using its production runs. Okay, so that is what we are going to do for the next one. So the next overhead, okay, is machine running cost. So machine running cost. So for machine running cost, 8 CDR will be equal to, so what is the cost? It is 66,400 all over. So machine running, which cost driver did we use? We use machine hours. Okay, so for machine hours, what was the total for machine hours? So when you check here, machine hours per unit, the total that we had was 32,100. So that's what we are going to divide over here. So 32,100 hours. Okay, so you divide this by this and you are going to get 2.07. So now we are going to use this to apportion this among the products. So we have A, B, C. Okay, so we open bracket. So for A, the machine hours for A was 7,500. For B was 8,400. C is 16,200. So we are just going to use this rate here to multiply these values. Okay, so that is basically what we are doing. So the first one was 7,500 hours, okay, times 2.07, and we are getting what? 15,525. Then the second one was what? Was 8,400 hours, so multiply by 2.07, and we are getting what? 17,388. Then the next one was what? 16,200 hours multiplied by 2.07, which will give us what? 33,534. All right, so you can just add this to see if you get this. If you get it, then you're on track. Okay, so that is it. So we move to the next pool or overhead. Okay, so the next pool is what? Procurement. Okay, So procurement cost. So that one to do a CDR, and the cost for procurement is 48,000 all over. So for procurement, what did we use? What was the basis? So we said that procurement number of purchases, right? So what is the total number of purchases? So the total number of purchases is 94 over here. So we divide that by 94. Okay. So then when you divide, you are going to get 510.64. Wow, there's more. So then we have to use this rate to apportion. So A, B, C. We open brackets, and just like we did for the rest, since we use number of purchase orders, so we just multiply that value by this, and this. Okay, 24, 28, 42. So okay, so A is what? 24 times 510.64, and we are getting what? 12,255.36. Then for B is 28, right? Times 5.64, and we are getting 14,297.92. Okay, then the next one is 42 times 510.64, and we are getting what? 21,446.88. All right, so now that we've gotten this, we move to the next pool, which is the deliveries, right? So delivery cost. So that one to we find the CDR. So the cost is what? 54,320, right? And for that we use what? Number of deliveries, and the total for number of deliveries was 140. So then you divide, and what are we getting? 388. So this is the rate. Okay, then we come and use it to share for the product. So for product A, it was 48. Multiply that by 388, and we are getting 18,624, right? Then the next one was what? 30. You multiply that by 388, and we are getting 11,640. Okay. Then the last one was 62. Multiply by 388, that is the rate, and we are getting 24,056. Okay, yes. So now we have found for each of the pool or the overhead. Okay, so we did it for machine setup, we did it for machine running costs, we did it for procurement, we did it for delivery cost. Okay, in any question, whenever you have your overheads, you do same. Okay, you have to find a rate, that is the CDR, and use it to apportion for each product that you are producing. All right, so now that we've gotten this, we move on to the next step. That is we trying to create a table and finding our cost per unit. I believe you are following. Okay, I don't want to make this video very long. Okay, so if you don't understand anything, you can comment, then I'll address it. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the table now that we have our rates. Okay, so you remember I told you that this will remain the same, this will remain the same, but only this will change. So that is what we are coming to do here. So with our table, we'll start with product A, product B, and product C. Okay, then we have our direct material cost. We have direct labor cost. So they are going to be the same. So from the previous video, so if you haven't watched the previous video, kindly go and check the previous video. Okay, so for the direct material cost, we had 2.40, and product B 3.60, and 4.80. For the labor, we had 1.48, we had 2.22 over here, and we had 2.96 over here. All right, and I said that this becomes our prime cost, right? So you have 3.88 here, 5.82 here, and 7.76. All right, so here we will add what? Overhead. So here, because our overhead is not just one, we can make it one and write it there, but for explanation's sake, let's just write everything there. So we add overheads. Okay, so this time I'll bring column. In the first one, you don't bring column, you just write it directly because it's just only one. But this time, let's highlight all the overheads. Okay, so we'll start with machine setup cost. So machine setup cost. So we'll go and pick the amount. So for A, machine setup cost, where is machine setup cost? Yes, so this is machine setup cost. So for A, we are going to pick this value. For B, we'll pick this value. And for C, we pick this value. Okay, so follow. So it's 11,800 for A. It's 8,850 for B, and it's 5,900 for C. Okay, then the next one is what? Machine running. Machine running cost. So that one too, we go and pick the same values that we calculated for using the rate. So for machine running, we had here A to be 15,525, and B to be 17,388, then 33,534. Yes, I hope I'm on track. Then the next one is procurement. So procurement cost. Okay, so for procurement cost, we'll go and pick the values that we calculated for again. So for procurement, we have A to be 12,225.36, B to be 14,297.92, and the C to be 21,446.88. Then the last one is what? The delivery cost. So for the delivery cost, we have 18,624. We have 11,640, and to 24,056. So for the delivery, this is what we have. Okay, so that is all: machine setup, machine running, procurement cost, delivery cost. Okay, so these are all the values. Now what we'll do here is we then sum everything up. Okay, so sum everything up here. So if you sum all this up, you are going to get 58,204.36. Then if you sum this side up, you are going to get 52,175.92. Yeah. Then we sum this side up, we are going to get what? 84,936.88. All right. So now that we've summed everything up, the next thing is we bring our production unit. So production unit for A. So remember, this is the column for A, right? So for production unit for A is what? 15,000, right? For B is 12,000. And C is 18. So what you're going to do here is you are going to divide. Remember, you divide this amount by this. Okay, then you write the value here. So 58,204.36 divided by 15,000. You are going to get 3.88. Do you get it? Then 52,175.92 divided by 12,000. You are going to get 4.35. It's to 2 decimal place, okay? 2 decimal place. Then you divide 84,936.88 over 18,000. Same. And you're going to get what? 4.72. All right, 2 decimal place. Now that you've gotten these values, this is your overhead per unit, okay? Is your overhead per unit. So what you're going to do with this value is, you remember I said this is your direct cost, direct material cost plus direct labor cost plus overhead cost. Okay. So we have our direct material cost here. We have direct labor cost here, giving us our prime cost. So now we've been able to fish out for the overhead cost per unit. So it's overhead cost. Okay, overhead cost per unit. So these are overhead cost per unit. Okay, so now we can add. So now we can add all this. So already we've added these two to get this. So we just add this and this. Okay. So we add this, the prime cost, which is your PC. We add this and this value. Okay. So when you add them, you are going to get 7.76 for the A, for product A. Then you come for product B, you add this and this. You are going to get 10.17. Then you do same for C, you are going to get, so let me underline this side. You're going to get 12.48. And this become your cost per unit. Do you get it? So now let's go back. So from the previous one, we were able to get our full cost per unit or cost per unit like this. And now currently we've been able to get our full cost or cost per unit. So now you can underline 2 times because we are done. Okay, so this is your cost per unit using the activity-based costing. It's long and it's somehow complex, but then if you don't understand anything, you just play it over and over till you get the understanding. We'll solve a different question which also have a different approach, and we'll still arrive at similar results using the same approach. Okay. So this is for the B part. The next section is for the revenue part. Okay. The revenue is quite easy, so it might take just a short time. But then I would like to end here, and we'll continue in the next video. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you actually enjoying this. And also you can comment and I would answer you in the comment section. All right, see you in the next video. Bye bye.